Okay, now we're going to look at how we can wire the breadboard to work with a common anode RGB LED. Okay, so here's my common anode, and in the previous video we tested with the multimeter to see that this longest leg was receiving power to power the other three, the R, the G, and the B legs. So I'm going to go ahead and stick this into my breadboard. Okay, so I'm going to make sure that each one of these is in a different row of my breadboard. Okay, and the second one here, that leg, the second leg, is my common anode. So that's the one that's going to need to go to power. So I'm going to go ahead and run a male-to-male jumper, right, from that second leg of my RGB LED, the common anode, and I'm going to put that into the 5-volt pin of my extension board, right? And this is running with a ribbon cable to my Raspberry Pi GPIO pins. So now I've got 5 volts of power coming into that common anode leg of my RGB LED. Now the other legs, those are going to connect to GPIO pins. And this is my R, my red is the one above, then G and B, green and blue, afterwards. So I'm going to go ahead and take my red leg and I'm going to put a resistor, and I'm using a 220 resistor here. I'm going to run that resistor from my red leg of my RGB LED straight across the bridge of the breadboard into a parallel row. Okay, so, whoops, pop that up a little bit. There we go. And then I can connect that other end of my resistor to a GPIO pin. So I'm going to run that right up here to pin 26. Okay, so that's controlling my red. Now my green, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to take a 220 resistor. I'm going to go from the right side across the bridge to the left side. Oops. There we go. Okay, and it looks like we got some power there, so that must already be open on my Raspberry Pi GPIO pins. And then I'm going to connect that to another pin, and I'm going to go ahead and make that pin 20. So we'll put that in the 20 slot. Okay, then my third, the blue, I'm going to take my 220 resistor, cross the bridge. There we go. And I'm going to run that to a third GPIO pin, and that one I'll just put right above it into pin 16. Right? And now we can see that the blue came on. Okay, so now that we're all wired up, then we can go ahead and take a look at how to code this in Python. Okay, so I've created a file in Thonny and called it RGB LED, and we're going to start with some imports. So from GPIO0, we're going to import the RGB LED package. And then from time, we're going to import sleep. And then from color 0, we're going to import color. Okay, now we're going to create an LED object from the GPIO0 library. So we'll call RGB LED. And to construct this LED object, we're going to need to put the pins as they're numbered for red, green, and blue. So we put red in pin 26, we put green in 20, and we put 16 in our for the blue. Now, when we did the common anode, or I'm sorry, common cathode rather, that's all we needed to do because the active status of those pins started at high. Okay, now because we're doing the opposite, we have a common anode this time, we're going to need to add a parameter called active underscore high, and we're going to start that at false. Okay, now we can go ahead and say LED.red, and we'll set that to 1. Okay, let's stop, and we'll run our script to test it out. And then we'll take a look, and there's our red colored LED. Okay, now I'm going to put sleep in there, so we'll sleep for 3 seconds so we can see the colors change, and then let's change this to green. So LED green is going to be 1. So we'll stop and run. So there's my red, and there it changed to green. Okay, now let's put the sleep on there for 3 more seconds. And we'll end with the blue color, LED.blue equals 1. Let's go ahead and reposition this so we can see the colors change. And we'll run our code. There's the red, there's the green, and there's the blue. Okay, now another thing that I'd like you to see is that we can change these colors. Instead of using just the GPIO0 functions, we can go to the color 0 that we imported, and we can play with that a little bit. So if you want to use the color 0 to control your LED, then you would say LED.color, and then that equals color, and you can specify the color directly. So we want it to be red. Then we can sleep so we can see the colors change, and we'll do LED color equals color and then blue. Okay, we'll sleep for 3 seconds and do a color change to green. Okay, and then we can, oh, I think I spelled sleep wrong there, S-L-E-E-P. Okay, so we're going to run and watch the colors change. So there's our red, there's our blue, and there's the green.